Level 2, I call it the takeoff. The takeoff. Now you realize at takeoff, there are very many actors, very many players. We can't even tell who is here. We don't know whether it's BA or Emirates or Qatar, Ethiopian, KQ. So at takeoff, there is too much noise. There's a lot of vibe. There is a lot of negative energy because everybody is polluting the air. You can see that. There's a lot of gossiping. There's a lot of show-off right at that level. Did you know, scientifically speaking, the higher the altitude, the less the gravitational pull. For those of you who like scientific evidence from a physics perspective, gravitational force is an inverse proportion of r squared, where r is the distance from the center of the earth. On a serious note, G equals 1 over r squared. That's true. What are the features right there? Number one is crowded. Remember, there are very many players right there? Beneath the clouds are crowds. Too many players, too many actors, too much noise, too much pollution. Number two, there is fight for recognition. Take this kindly, but when you find yourself looking for every media opportunity, you are at level 2. Do not even ask your neighbor. You are in level 2. I guarantee you. If you're always looking for an opportunity to go to the media, because the media can make or break you. When you go there without refined products, when you go in there without a clear vision, when you go there because you're looking for attention, you're in level 2. And it doesn't matter whether it's mainstream media or social media. By the way, let me even say this. If you're in social media and you have so many followers, but they cannot buy your product, they can't buy you, you can't even call them for a meeting and they come, you are a socialite. What are these followers for? Graduate from seeking attention to appearing with intention. Be intentional while you appear there. There's an MP in Kenya by the name Honorable Chris Omaro who said, if you go to a market and find a hyena and a sheep, you'll stay at the hyena, but eventually you take the sheep home. Don't always be impressed with people staring at you. Be impressed with converting them into strategic partners. Attention for the sake of it can be very destructive. Number 3, desire for overnight success. Now, people at the takeoff want to reach the blue sky overnight. So it is characterized by shortcuts, bending standards, bending the rules, half-baked products being released into the market, cutting corners, whether you are putting up a road or a building or any project. Because you want to reach the top obstacle-free, without struggles. If success were easy, who wouldn't be successful? What tactics can I propose? Number 1, test your climbing gear, offload staff and stuff. You see, when you are starting your journey, you had carried all this baggage believing that you need all these things for your journey. Eventually you realize when the journey begins, there's too much stuff you cannot carry. For those of you who like hiking up mountains, especially the men listening to me, always check what your wife has carried. I tell you from my own experience, women carry things because they think they need all these snacks, they need all these clothes, and if you don't check, you will be the one carrying those things. I know it. Believe me, at this particular point, you may realize you don't need a go-down for a startup business. You realize you may not need extra staff members. You can't afford idle labor. You may not even need an office for a start. You still can do that business from your own house. Check what you need and what you don't need. Take it out of your way. It's a baggage. But the biggest baggage are old relationships. You will not be able to take off with old relationships. Learn to travel light. Second feature, focus on your current battlefront. Now, a lot of people miss on the current sale because they focus on future prospects. We are preoccupied with future prospects at the expense of the current customer. SMEs in particular in Kenya, you'll find somebody with a hardware shop with a very clear notice board. In this shop, goods once sold, never returned. But if you think this is a problem of SMEs, let's transact business about major corporates right now. A banker comes to you and convinces you to buy, say, online product. You will save your money traveling, you'll save your time, you'll save your stress, you'll save your emotional downtime. You buy the concept, and one day, you definitely are in a hurry to buy an online product. Perhaps you're transferring money to an embassy, you're buying a visa, you're paying for a visa, but the bank system is down. You can't go through. And because of several trials, your card is blocked. In essence, a security measure is put, and you're the first casualty of that security measure as a customer. You make a call to the customer care. That's the natural trade. To go through the line requires the patience of a plowing ox. At the meantime, the bank's marketing machinery is heavy on the ground doing activations looking for new customers. Is that familiar? You buy an insurance cover. Somebody sells to you with a great sense of urgency until the car gets a wreck, gets into an accident. And when you go for claim, you are the first one to be investigated. Or you buy a medical cover for travel. Then unfortunately, you're out there abroad and you fall sick. Then you call your insurance agent, and the first thing you realize, you cannot use that cover. So they tell you, use your money, we're going to reimburse. But this is the very reason why I was buying a cover. I didn't want to be bothered about money that time. You go ahead and pay. Then you come back and you follow that reimbursement. It becomes your lifetime occupation. At the meantime, the sales agents are on the ground looking for the next customer. And the customer thinks these are licensed thieves. And we can go from industry to industry. And here's my suggestion for you at the Blue Sky strategy. Focus on this customer as though this is the only customer you have in your lifetime. If you're invited to speak a message, focus on this message as though this is the only message you'll deliver before the Lord takes you home. If you're going for an interview, focus on this interview as though this is the only job you'll ever get. If you're going out for a date, you're single man, single lady listening to me, focus on this one date. Even if it doesn't end up in marriage, you'll at least have enjoyed your coffee date. Rather than keeping thinking and hoping, I wish this guy says something. Just enjoy this one date. So back to the customer story. Prepare for this customer. Have your name cards right. Have your brochures, your tools of trade, and then run that presentation in your head over and over again. In your mind, much, much, much more than even on your tablet. Impress this one customer. Do not underestimate the latent potential of one satisfied customer. Greed, short-sightedness, inability to see beyond the clouds make us keep thinking about the next prospect and the next prospect. And I'm telling you, please, slow down and focus on this one customer. And that's the job I have tonight. To ensure that everyone who came here, you go home with something today, not about our next meeting or our next year's meeting. Right now, I believe with all my heart, if your inside is good, you're not going to walk out the same way you came. You see, I'm not responsible for the internal variables. Number 3, accelerate to maximum speed. Focus on thrust before you lose momentum. If you are at takeoff, you've got to put maximum gear. What's that? It means to repeat success patterns en masse. Remember here I told you to focus on this one customer. Then you repeat the same strategy using the existing channels before you hear about new channels. You see, a lot of marketers listening to me here, you are confused by new messages in the market. Before you listen to other voices, if it worked and you close that sale, use first the current existing market until you have very many followers in your ecosystem. Repeat success pattern. Rachel, if you're selling cakes and you're able to close with one customer, do it to 1,000 customers before you're convinced by another person about another strategy. Why? Then your visibility becomes clear. This country I've seen, almost all professions, somebody does a song, extremely good. That's a performance. The next time you hear of his performance is 5 years to come. The market has forgotten you. You're starting from scratch again. That's what goes on. Look at your neighbor and ask them, are you at level 2? Are you at takeoff?